this session we will talk about the group dynamics, as we are talking about the effectiveness and the team effectiveness is there. In this group dynamics, we will talk about the exactly understanding the what is the group dynamics is there. Before this session, we will talk about the difference between the group and team, right? That what is a group and how we can convert into the team. In earlier sessions, we have discussed that, and now those who are working together in that particular group, and what type of the dynamics is there, that we will be talking about these group dynamics. And there are the 8 main principles we will be discussing, and the stages of the group development. Why do people form groups? Group dynamic theories, group properties, and 7 strategies of the better group decision making. Then the case study, research paper, book recommendation, and references. So, in the case of the group dynamics is there, what exactly it is the what we understand by the group dynamics. It is refers to the attitudinal and behavioral characteristics of a group, and the group dynamics concern how groups are formed, what is their structure, and which processes are followed in their functioning, right. So, this is like we give the assignments and the group activities, and when we give the group activities, then I leave to the class, that is that they can form their own group. Just the number is fixed, that is like the 4 members will be there or the 5 members will be there. So, that will be about that particular group and they decide about themselves, that is how group will be formed, right. And so, therefore, here it is the voluntarily formation of group that is becoming the strength. It is concerned with the interactions and forces operating between the groups is there, right. So, naturally whenever you are creating and giving that the willingness to them to create their select their own team members or group members, right. So, it is all the both whether it is the formal or informal is. Normally we see that is in informal groups this type of the practices are followed, and therefore, you select the one coordinator volunteer and then he creates his informal group and he works on that. But whenever there is a formal group is concerned, right, then it has to be based on certain rationality. In order to achieve the best use of the group dynamics, the following principles of the group dynamics have been discussed with the by the Darwin Carlwright, and they are as follows. If the group is to be used effectively as a medium of change, those people who are to be changed and those who are to exert influence of change must have a strong sense of belongingness to the same group is there. So, here they are talking about the actually the function of coordination of the manager, right. So, therefore, in that case those who are to be changed, right. For example, you are introducing in a particular technology. So, those who are to be changed, those who are using the technology, and those who are bringing the change, that is those technical companies, executives, those staff which are bringing the change. So, there should be a strong belongingness to them, the same group. The more attractive the group is to its members, the greater is the influence that the group can exert on its member is there. And the voluntarily people say, yes, I want to be the member of this group, then only it is useful. If the person does not want to be the member of that group, but because of the position, because of the logic, he has been placed there because of his experience, but he does not like that group members, right. But because he is the senior most person and therefore he has to be there, then definitely that will be an issue with the group dynamics. The group will not perform in that case, right. So, therefore, that willingness of that particular person or employee to become the group member, that is very much required. The greater the prestige of the group member in the eyes of the other members, the greater the influence he can exert. And when you say this is a task force member, this is the advisory council's member, he is a member of the board, right. So, therefore, in that case how people will see, people will say, oh, he is supposed to be the expert of his subject, right. And therefore, in that case, yes, we can also learn from him, and they will be they will like to be the member. Efforts to change individual or sub parts of a group, which if successful would have the effect of making them deviate from the norms of the group, will encounter strong resistance is there. So, it will be always important, that is the whenever we are making these individuals as a part of a group or efforts are made, then definitely that will be having the strong resistance will be there. Information relating to the need for change. Plans for change and the consequences of change must be shared by all relevant people in the group is there, right. So, therefore, they are required to make the these changes are to be made. Whenever we are talking about this type of these the group formation, right. So, and we are following this particular group. So, ultimately what we are talking about, we are saying that there will be the requirement, there will be the requirement of the willingness, commitment, expertise, and we, amongst the all the people those who are working there together. If they are having that working togetherness, then definitely in that case they will be able to perform. So, there is a process of 5 stages through which the forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning is there. So, first stage is characterized by a great deal of uncertainty about the group's purpose, structure and leadership is there. So, it is the member test the waters to determine what type of behaviors are acceptable, and this stage is complete when members have begun to think of themselves as a part of a group is there, and therefore, in that case it becomes very important steps, because this is a stage where the members have begun to think, right, as a part of the group, and therefore they are coming together, they are joining together, and as soon as they are joining together, and that is making them to start the work with is there. However, every person who is coming with another person and forming in the group, right, then it will depend, that is the what type of the personalities they are, what type of the value systems they are creating, whether the members accept the existence of the group, but resist the constants, right. So, therefore, intra-group conflict starts, the conflict between the group starts. When this stage is complete, so on individuality, because there will be the everybody is coming for as an individual. So, this every individual who will control the group, when this stage is complete, there will be a relatively clear hierarchy of leadership within the group is there, and when the storming stage is done. So, with the storming stage you will find that is the somebody will come out as a leader is there, because in the storming stage there will be the discussion, there will be the conflicts, there will be the convincing, right, and therefore, in that case who is the able to overcome that he will be leader. So, that leader what does in the third stage, the close relationships develop and the group demonstrate cohesiveness. So, what was the storming phase was there, because there were different personalities. Now, the norm starts, because they have to work together, right. It is just like a marriage, right. So, in the before marriage, that is the forming is there, but in the storming there will be after marriage the storming starts, right, but they understand we have to live with each other, and then the norms will be derived, and the members of that group that know that yes, we have to work together and we have to achieve the goal, and therefore that norms are developed and they start working on that. So, that is the performing. So, it is the fourth stage of the group development. The structure at this point is fully functional and accepted. Group energy has moved from getting to know and understand each other to perform the task at hand. So, therefore, in that case here that understanding between the group members, as we talked about, the norming phases was there. So, that becomes the better understanding becomes better, and they start performing. Adjourning, the final stage in group development for temporary groups, characterized by the concern with the wrapping up activities rather than the task performance. Some group members are upbeat, basking in the group's accomplishments. Others may be depressed over the loss of the camaraderie and the friendships gained during the work group's life is there. So, therefore, ultimately when the performance is done, right, the group was performing for a common goal and objectives, and once this common goal and objectives that has been the completed, and now it will be the time to finish and go away. So, that is the adjourning stage is there. So, that was the forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning. So, perspectives that consider when and why individual consider themselves members of the group, right. So, social identity theory works here, right, that is a set, and they proposes that the people have emotional reactions to the failure or success of their group because their self esteem gets tied into the group's performances there. So, as I mentioned, that is you are the member of the board, right. Are you the member of that task force? Are you the member of quality circle? So, this is giving the social identity, because the who can become the member? Who is having the subject knowledge, who that can only member. So, therefore, that is giving the social identities there. Several characteristics make a social identity important to a person, like the similarity is there. So, demographic similarity can also lead to the stronger identification of new hires, while those who are demographically different may have a hard time identifying with the group as a whole is there. So, naturally in that case, whenever there is a demographic similarity is there, especially is the age, right. So, then in that case there will be the same age group members will be there. So, they will be liking to work with each other, and there will be the they can demographically different may have a hard time. So, those who are having the same demographic variables, they will be having the good time. However, if there is demographic variable is not same, then yes, it will require a time of understanding. Distinctiveness. People are more likely to notice identities that show how they are different from the other groups are there. So, here it is becoming very important, that is how one member is different from the another member, right. So, because by the performance they perform, and when they perform, then it has been observed that is the level of difference of their performance, and whenever there will be the level of difference of performance, there will be distinctiveness. So, status, because people use identities to define themselves and increase self esteem, it makes sense that they are most interested in linking themselves to the high status group is there. So, therefore, it should be the similarity, and at the same time they require that is the part of that particular status is there. So, uncertainty reduction. Membership in a group also helps some people understand who they are and how they fit into the world. So, therefore, uncertainty reduction will be there. So, because what happens, that is the you get the guidance, you get the support, right. So, your results are predictable. So, there will be uncertainty will be minimum. The group dynamics theories now we will discuss, and the propinquity theory. The most basic theory explaining affiliation is propinquity. Individuals affiliate with one another because of the spatial or geographical proximity. In an organization, employees who work in the same area of the plant or office or managers with office close to one another would more probably form into groups than would those who are not physically located together. So, this is the very natural parameter. So, those who are living are working together, then they will have the more the proximity to each other. So, because of that geographical locations. The exchange theory. This theory is based on the reward cost outcomes of interactions. To be attracted towards a group, a person thinks in terms of what he will get in exchange of interaction with group members. A minimum positive level towards rewards greater than cost of an outcome must exist in order for attraction or affiliation to take place. So, therefore, in that case the group dynamics is depending upon what I give and what I gain, and therefore, if the gain may be monetary, may be non-monetary, right. But if there is an attractive game is there, then definitely they will like to connect with that particular group because that exchange that is motivating them. Third is the balance theory. This theory is proposed by the Theodore Newcomb, states that persons are attracted to one another on the basis of similar attitudes towards the commonly relevant objects and goals are there. So, this is also very very interesting part, that is they are having, that is the similar attitudes are there towards each other. So, the feathers of the same bird flock together. So, once a relationship is formed, it strives to maintain a symmetrical balance between the attraction and the common attitudes is there. So, therefore, in that case, like here it is shown, individual C, individual attitude towards the authority, work, lifestyle, politics and religions, right. So, therefore, in that case this ABC, right, they are having that symmetrical balance for the attraction and the common attitudes are there. If an imbalance occurs, attempts are made to restore the balance. If the balance cannot be restored, the relationship dissolves, and therefore, in that case many groups they are getting the adjourn, because they are not able to continue and not able to perform. So, after the performance, definitely there is a natural adjourning is there, but whenever we are talking about that adjourning in between, that is causing to the loss to the organization, and therefore, in that case this balance is required to be created. However, that is the similarity will be there in amongst that particular group members, it will be better. The Haumann's theory, according to the George C. Haumann's, the more activities persons share, the more numerous will be their interactions are there, right. And therefore, in that case activities, interactions and the sentiments are there. Now, then the stronger will be their shared activities and sentiments. And the more sentiments people have for one another, the more will be their shared activities and the interactions are there. So, therefore, in that case it will be the always between the group members. So, whatever the activities are there, and those activities will be shared by the interactions, right. And the more and it is not only that is the formal activities are shared. So, whenever we are talking about the group dynamics, the sentiments are along with that particular person, or the group members are there. So, it is the activities, interactions and sentiments, all three are important for the effective group dynamics are there. So, if you are having the consideration for the sentiments, then definitely they will be having the more interactions and the activities are there. So, if better activities and interaction is there, so they will be making the more strong bindings of the sentiments are there. Now, here we have to also understand that is the interactions, right, and the activities, right, and that is has to be performed by the group members, and whenever they are performing this type of the activities and the directions are there, and that has to be supplement to each other. The group property, the roles, then a set of expected behavior patterns attributed to someone occupying a given position in a social unit, and therefore, it becomes very important, that is what is expected. So, first is the role perception, an individual's view of how he or she is supposed to act in a given situation. So, that will be the role perception will be there. So, here that whatever these the perceptions of, in a given situation, and then definitely that will be creating that how he she is supposed to act in a given situation. So, role expectations are there. How others believe a person should act in a given situation. So, role perception is the individual's own perception. But when we are talking about the role expectations, so these are the expectation a person should act in a given situation, and the role conflict is a situation in which an individual is confronted by divergent role expectations are there. So, therefore, in that case it becomes very very important, that is whatever the role conflict is there. So, then individuals any confrontation is there, those role conflicts are there, they are required to be resolved. So, in the case of the role perception and in the case of role expectations, right, both are required to match, then definitely the role expectancy will be high. Norms are acceptable standards of behavior. Now, the second is norms. So, after discussing with the roles, now we will talk about the norms. So, norms are acceptable standards of behavior. within a group that are shared by the group's member. So that is the expected. So many times the group members they talk like that. This is the minimum expected from you, that you will do like this. So given below is the different classes of group norms. The performance norms. The group will determine what is acceptable level of effort, product and outcome should exist in the workplace is there, and therefore those performance norms are to be followed. And in this case, these performance norms that will be decided by the group. Appearance norms. The group will determine how members should dress, when they should be busily working and they can take a break, and what kind of the loyalty is shown to the leader and company. So therefore here that is the how they should dress even. So there should be also has been reflected under the norms. Social arrangement norms are there. The group regulates the interaction between its members. So therefore the performance norms, what is the group determines and acceptable. What is the appearance norms is there, that is what should be the dress, business working hours, right. And then the social arrangement norms are there, and therefore that is the how they are interacting with each other. And then the norms for the allocation of resource, that is the group or the organization that originates the standards by which pay, new equipment and even difficult tasks are assigned, and that is the allocation of resource norms will be there. The conformity is the adjustment of one's behavior or the align with the norms of the group is there. So because that group is known for a particular norms, so there is a requirement of the conformity is there, and when there is a conformity, it means that is all members of the group or the behavior of that group member is aligned with the norms of the group is there. And when as soon as these norms are followed, then definitely in that case the chances of the deviant behavior at the workplace is less. What is the deviant workplace behavior? It is a voluntarily behavior that violates significant organizational norms. So if you are following those particular norms, then there will be there is no question of the deviant behavior, but here it is a voluntarily deviant behavior is there. So why it does so? Threatens the well-being of the organization or its members, also called anti-social behavior. So in this case it is the many times it has been seen that there is a deviant workplace behavior is there. Now after the roles, norms, we will talk about the status. So status is a socially defined position or rank given to the groups or group members, right. As I mentioned, that is whenever the people for a very simple example is of the club. So if you become the member of any particular club, so then the status of that person in the society, it goes high. So there is a status characteristics theory states that differences in status characteristics create status hierarchies within the groups is there. So if somebody says I am the member of the 5-star club, I am the member of the 2-star club, right. So definitely in the group itself, those who are the members of the 5-star clubs and those who are the member of the 2-star clubs, there will be the difference, and the 2-star club members they will treat the 5-star club member differently, right. So group next is the size. The size of the group is an essential component while understanding group dynamics, right. So individuals perform better in smaller groups. If you remember correctly, I have mentioned that is in the earlier sessions, that is what should be the size of the group, and size of the groups it was suggested by 15 to 20 members, and as I mentioned, that is if we talk about the management, effective management is there. So that is the 5 to 7, then that should be the size of the group is there. Well, but again it will depend upon the task also. And then the cohesiveness is there. The cohesion or interactions of the group members shows the level of bonding they share. Here is some of the elements of the group cohesiveness. So that is a task relation is there. So in the case refers to the interaction of the individual in a group for the accomplishment of the assigned work, right, whether he is able to have the completion of that work or not. And the social relations is there, that is the interaction of the group members on a personal level, social interactions. The emotions can be seen as the feelings shared by the group members are there. So these are the elements of the group cohesiveness is there. So that is what is the task relation, social relations, and the emotions are there. So in the case whenever we are having this is the cohesiveness is low and performance norms are also low. So moderate to low productivity will be seen. right? But when we are having the cohesiveness is high and performance norms are low, then there will be low productivity. And whenever the cohesiveness is high and the performance norms are also high, then there will be the high productivity will be there. And then whenever there will be the low cohesiveness and the high performance norms will be there, that will be the moderate productivity will be there. So, ultimately what is the important? So, that important is that we are looking for the high productivity, any group, right, and that high productivity in that cohesiveness plays a very important role. And if there is a high cohesiveness is there and the high performance norms are there, then definitely high productivity will be there. Now, the 7 strategies for the better group decision making is on hierarchy an instinct to prevent dissent and a desire to preserve harmony. Many groups fall into group think and the group shift is there. So, group think is a phenomenon in which the norms for the consensus overrides the realistic appraisal of alternative courses of action is there. So, here it is always that is how the group is thinking and on the basis of those norms. And if the group thinking is always there, that is how what members have communicated, and then definitely that will be having the high level of thinking. Group shift is a change between a group's decision and an individual decision that a member within the group would make. The shift can be towards either conservatism or greater risk, but it generally is towards a more extreme version of the group's original position is there, and therefore, in that case it is the group shift may be also possible, right. So, a group's decision and an individual's decision, right, if there is a change, right. So, either that greater risk is there, that is to act on this particular norms, or towards a more extreme version of the group's original position is there, because there is a difference. Here is a 7 simple strategies for more effective group decision making is there. Keep the group small when you need to make an important decision. Choose a heterogeneous group over a homogeneous one. Appoint a strategic dissenter or even two. Collect opinions independently. Provide a safe space to speak up. Don't over rely on experts, and share collective responsibility is there. And therefore, we see it is on the basis of this, that is when we are combining here about the competency with the convenience, that is the whatever the competency is there, right, of the group members, and that has been aligned with the emotions of the group members is there. So, therefore, in that case and that is becoming the collective responsibility, and if there is a collective responsibility is there, then definitely in that case you will find that is the it is becoming the more useful for the performance of the group, and group has becoming more effective is there. So, but for this purpose the very interesting point has been mentioned, that is the they don't over rely on the experts. Now, you see, every group has to take the decision according to its situation, that under what situation that group has been formed and under what situation the group is working. So, many times what happens, the experts give their opinion which may not be having that relevancy with that particular situation, and that internal group leader that has to decide. Now, in these the particular group formations and group strategies, we understand, and that is what is required is the norms are required. Performance norms has to be there, right, and there has to be the cohesiveness, and whenever these norms and cohesiveness that is matching, then definitely the groups will be having the high performance or high productivity. As usual, this is the case study which will be talking about the herd behavior in the housing bubbles, right, and this will suggest the size of the group, what should be the size of the group. As in 7 strategies in the previous slide we have seen, the size of the group is to be small. How is it compared to the problems resulting from the herd behavior? So, this will case study, and this is the research paper, empowering leadership, work group cohesiveness, individual learning orientation and individual innovative behavior in the public sector. That is the empirical evidence from the Norway is there. So, this is about the research paper, and this is about the book recommendation, and that is a team intervention, group dynamics and the team interventions that will work. So, these are the references for these studies and for your future understanding in details, right. So, this is all about the developing that group dynamics and the maximizing the performance of the group productivity. Thank you.